Okay, and welcome everyone to episode number 7 of the Zero Fucks, Zero FX. Still not got a clue what the fuck it's called podcast. Tonight we have with us Sean Wharton, Rob Lancaster, and our lovely guest, Jayson Street. So can we have a little round of applause? Thank you. Welcome, Jayson. Do you want to, I don't think you really need to do this, but do you want to give yourself a quick introduction so everyone can know who you are?
I'm not really good talking about myself. It's like I'm a hacker. I like to do security awareness training. I like to teach. I like to make things better. I usually do that by robbing people and then explain to them how I robbed them. They pay me first, so it's all good. It's like, and yeah, I do that, and it's it's a living. It's like, and it's a good one, and not because of the pay, but because of the fun. It's like I love helping others, and I love teaching. So it's the best of both worlds.
Excellent, and it looks like you're joining us tonight from the TARDIS.
Oh, I wish. It's like, trust me, if I ever see a police box around, I'm going in. It's like I actually have. Don't blink. And it's like, and I have my TARDIS over here, but it's a hub, a USB hub. And whenever you plug something in, you hear the sound effects. So it's pretty cool. Nice. And then I've got the weeping angel right beside the box. It's like, so, because that was one of my favorite episodes. The angels have the box. It's like, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, very cool. I'm feeling some serious man cave envy. I must be honest. I feel naked.
I'm sat in my kitchen, so I've also got man cave envy, even though I'm not a man. There we go.
Or a cave.
I don't have a cave either now. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So Sean, would you like to kick off with the first question?
Sure. So I think a lot of our listeners will probably have heard the story that you gave on Darknet Diaries about the Beirut bank job, and I've got to say I must have listened to that episode like legit about 15 times. I absolutely love listening to that story, Jayson, and I'm sure a lot of other listeners will. My question is, has there ever been a time where a job has gone even more wrong than that job than you described on the episode with Jack? Has there been a time where a job's just gone catastrophically wrong?
That is a very good question. Yeah, and I like the fact that you approach it that was wrong. That was, a lot of people go and look at that and they build that one up like that was an achievement. And I always have to correct them, like, no, I screwed up. That was bad. That was bad on me. It's like, it's cool because Jack from Darknet Diaries, it's like, he's also a very great storyteller that I'm sure helped a lot with the story, but also the fact that I succeeded and I survived. It's like, it would have been a totally different story if it would have gone the other way. But yeah, that was a fail. That was not my greatest success or greatest story. With a client, that was just my greatest fail. That I it's like falling down in such a way down the stairs or something like that, where you and then you just land and go ta-da. It's like, because everything's fine and you didn't spill your drink or something. I would say I've had some bad jobs where we've had clients where they were like very upset. I've had one where they canceled the contract. Not canceled the contract. They just canceled the rest of the engagement because they found me in their server room. It was in the scope of work, but they didn't actually think I was going to be doing it. I'd be able to get in because it was a defense contractor in DC. They were wrong. It's like, and so they had to cut the engagement short. That one was really bad. But where people were like really angry at me or upset, nothing that was like, I think that would actually make it sound like it was bad, because it's like I did one with a Treasury Department, and I did one with this Treasury Department. I got in, I broke in and stuff, and everybody was very upset with what I did because they gave me a very limited amount of scope and I still got in. That's just hurt feelings. Speaking of hurt feelings, I think one of the biggest mistakes that I have is like sometimes when it's like, I just recently found out, like literally recently just found out I was giving a talk for a client, and I do internal security awareness training, not just external. And so in my internal security awareness trainings, I try to keep it like my talks. And one of the things that I do is usually I target someone or something randomly, and just to show, I don't try to go into all their private things. It's like in some of them, it's like when it's a conference talk, yes. When it's internal, no. But just by focusing on this one employee, it's like, and just showcasing some of their stuff, they were. I got feedback that they were very upset, and they were very upset with the fact that they were singled out, and they were embarrassed and stuff. And so that really, I mean, that's to me one of the big fails. It's like it's all those things little fails, which like because that person didn't learn as much as they could have because they had that negative experience. And red teaming and purple teaming, whatever kind of teaming, when we do the testing of a network in a facility and trying to help out the employee and the company in general, we're trying to make it a positive experience. It's not about you winning or you breaking something. It's, are they better after you left? Do they have a positive experience with it? Did they gain knowledge? And was that the most important thing of the lesson or the discovery? And in that case, I failed on that one because one of the employees did not. It's like the general consensus was great, but to me, still a fail on my part on that one.
Do you find that, well, I don't know whether this is a thing really with red teaming, but like at my company, we do phishing exercises, and we find that like the IT company, not the IT company, the IT team sometimes try to cover up that people are falling for phishing exercises. So they'll engage us to do a phishing exercise, and then you know that they've leaked to the company that there's a phishing exercise.
Oh.
Do you find that happens with like red teaming or like the stuff that you do?
Oh, yes. Because I do it in person. It's like I'm literally this totally reminds me of the story in Beirut, Lebanon. It's like not the same engagement. It's like I've done several through the years there, and but on this one, the first branch that we go to, boom, I'm in. I've got everything. I'm behind the teller line. I compromised every machine behind the teller line. It's like executed code showed that it was like an issue. By the time, and they said, and so what I did was I drove, or my with a person who was driving the employee or trusted agent, so to speak. It's like they drove us to the very next location that was closest. And as soon as we get there, I am distinctly different. I do not blend well in Lebanon. It's like, also my leather jacket was probably an indicator something was going on. I like to come with warning labels. But as soon as I got in the lobby, and I was like, excuse me, we don't know who you are. You can't do anything here. It's like, and I'm like, what? And it's like, yeah, if you were trying to do something, you can't do nothing here. It's like, we're very secure here. It's like, I'm like, but you don't know that even if I'm a customer or not. It's like, no, we don't. We just know. It's like you just look very suspicious. So I am making sure it's like for security, and I was like, okay, that's good. It's like, and so then we had to drive. We drove like unexpectedly to a little bit further location. And so I was able to compromise them, and then also get their headquarters. But the thing that got me the most was that, and I tell the client when that occurs, and this is very important. It's like, congratulations, you got the checkbox, and you successfully protected your company from the person who was trying to help you learn. It's like the next person who doesn't look like me, who doesn't talk like me, who doesn't do the things that I do, is going to be probably way more successful now because you've given them a false sense of security. And the only thing worse than no security is a false sense of security. So congratulations. It's like, might as well put a wanted poster up in your company to watch out for me. But then that means everybody else can come through because they don't fit that pattern. And so, yeah, what did you prove? So that's the same thing with phishing. Congratulations. You got the checkbox, and they were able to feel good about themselves falsely about this one phishing exercise. But now they're going to be getting an email from the CEO, or they're going to be getting an email from UPS or from something else, and something that looks more legitimate. It's like, and they're going to click for it, and that's going to cost you. And I would also mention one other thing. It's like Target lost over $350 million US. I mean, even in US money or UK currency, that's something, right? It's like, so yeah, so $350 million dollars. The root cause of that compromise was a phishing email from their HVAC company, not even directly in Target. It was their HVAC company's email. So you tell the person who wants to like make it like just a pro forma little stamp, and you tell them, it's like, well, that's great, you get that check, but you're gambling potentially $350 million or more on the fact that you needed just that check mark. Because have you noticed that every company that has been breached and compromised is always PC compliant until they're not? It's like, it's funny how that works out. It's like, so it's like, that's the problem. It's like, if you're looking for compliance and not security, well then, yeah. But what you're doing is you're gambling on a false sense of security that you're going to be able to withstand these things, and you are not. And you just hope they don't get tested.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, I was just going to say, it's like we do some phishing exercises and none of the people open their email. And I'm like, when I get emails that look semi-legitimate, I still open it just to see.
Correct, exactly.
So if no one's opening it, then obviously it must have been leaked that someone's doing a phishing exercise, because why would you not open it otherwise? Like, everyone opens all their emails that go in.
You have to at least look, yes, exactly.
In your experience, Jayson, does this come from sort of middle management, or do you think this comes from the top? Because obviously you're being engaged to test security, and clearly, therefore, you would expect that there is some level of desire for that to happen. So do you think that they're actually just going through the exercise for the sake of it, or do you think that it's being leaked lower down because there's a fear of being caught and then being reprimanded by higher ups?
I'm not sure. It's like, I'm taking your question in several different meanings, so I'm going to answer all of them. It's like, well, one, it's like from upper management or middle management, I think it's more human nature. We don't like failure. We don't reward failure, and we don't respond well to failure, unfortunately. It's like all my greatest successes and stuff, were founded and forged on failure. So it's like, so I am quite happy with the fact that it's like to publicly acknowledge that I fail. I gave a talk one year. It's like, and all I did at every conference was I explained failures. It's like not cool failures like robbing the wrong bank, but ones that I was like, yeah, this was stupid. This was bad on my part. It's like, do better than this. And because we need to learn from those. There's always these unreasonable expectations and some reasonable expectations in a workforce, where it's like, you have to perform this way, you have to meet these metrics. So that drives that aversion to actually finding out where the actual flaws are. Because when you recognize the flaw, you have to respond to it. Right now, it's ambiguous. It's just whatever. It's like, oh, we didn't know that happened. We didn't know that was aware of that. But now I'm presenting you documentation in a report that you paid for that shows you this was a finding. So now, 6 months from now, a year from now, someone is going to be able, into a possible court filing or an investigation, or a reporter is going to be able to say, but you did this test and it showed that they passed or that they didn't pass, and that you failed and you didn't make these improvements. It's like, and that is something that is legal ramifications that companies are afraid of as well. So there's all these different pressures. It's like the key ways that I look at things, and the reason why I do it the way that I do it when dealing with clients and doing security awareness engagements. I don't do red teaming. I do security awareness engagements. I'm not testing. I'm teaching. And so that is approached way differently because they realize I'm not going to report whoever failed. I'm not going to report that there were failures or that this person messed up. I'm going to say this person caught me, because on every engagement, I make sure that I get caught at least once. It's like sometimes like really good. It's like I had my biggest success was in January 2020 in the before times when I did this engagement in Boston, and I did the same company the year before. This year, they genuinely improved. They did amazing work. I mean, I still was successful in certain places, but overall, I was detected in every section and asked not to, that they could not work on the machine, that I could not touch the machine. Even after another employee right next to him may have gotten, allowed me to compromise them. It's like, then they started figuring out like, oh, it's like, you can't touch this. And it wasn't because they knew who I was. It's like, it was because they understood and they remember. And the CEO in their yearly meeting, like a few months before, had mentioned that security was a top priority. They made it an issue. They went and did the things that I told them about getting their employees involved in security, because every employee is part of the information security plan. It's like in programs, but they're not being educated that way. It's like security usually sees them as a liability instead of seeing them as the asset that they are, the vital team member that they are. It's like, and so I approach it way differently. So it's not that negativity of like, this is going to be reported later. It's going to show that you did a teaching exercise later. It's like, because that's exactly what I did. So I think that is one of the biggest things. And just to segue, just a small little rabbit hole, is like when we talk about getting employees involved, it's like one of the biggest things that I try to talk to people, especially when it deals with computers, is we look at a computer because everything that goes on site it is virtual. So therefore, it doesn't connect with a real world mechanism for people to understand the value that is that they're placed with. So what I do is I explain it this way. Every employee is like a delivery driver. So if you hire and your company has a delivery driver that they have that like an Amazon, it's like an Amazon driver, they're given an Amazon vehicle, correct? They're given an Amazon vehicle. So on the first day of work, are they given the keys to the van, saying, okay, good, you know what to do, here's the packages, go deliver? No, that's an expensive piece of equipment, correct? That is like thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment, and there's liability because they could get in an accident or they could hurt someone or something. That's liability on the company. It's like they have to go through a training program. They have to understand. You have to wear your seatbelt. You have to make sure that you got all these things. Here's the security things that we put into the vehicle to make sure that you are protected. And you have to make sure that you're doing your part to engage in those and making sure that those systems are in place. We're monitoring the van. It's like for speed and for, making sure. We put a thing on the back to tell people to report if you're driving unsafely. You have to obey all the defined laws and ways to do traffic. It's like we do all that for a delivery van. Now, if that delivery person, a year, 2 years, whatever, 3 months down the line, if they total that van, is the company just going to go, oh, that's too bad, here's a new van? It's like, better luck next time, do a little bit better, okay? It's like, we want you to do better now. It's like, and then they drive it, and then like 3 months, a year later, they wreck that van. Oh, let's just oh, sorry, here's a new van. It's like you're going to be out for a day, but there you go. There's a new van. Sorry about totaling that. And then they give them a new van. Does that make sense? Usually,
Not at
after the
all.
first one, the driver is released. It's like let go. It's like, or at least counseled and like trained, or like having to be reassigned. But we allow our employees, all our employees, we give them equipment that may be worth a few $1,000s, but the data is worth millions of dollars. What's inside the equipment is worth millions, or the entirety of the company.
Yeah.
And when they click on that link and they get in that accident, we go no harm, no foul. And we just give them a computer, or they restage it. I am very interested with, if you look at it that way, and they realize that just like a delivery van, that laptop is their equipment that they have to maintain, and it's their responsibility when they're operating it to operate it in a safe manner, and that they are part of the security team. So if they see something or something suspicious, they need to report it. If you see someone tailing you, someone following you constantly, tracking you, trying to see what's going on, would you not report that to your head office? If you see someone coming around and grabbing the packages after you left from the porches, wouldn't you notify the police? It's like, why are you not doing that when you see something on the computer or something strange that are on the computer? It's like, so you have to get to them. And if you do it once, I believe any employee that fails a phishing attack, it's like they, on the first try, they get counseled. A new 1 hour specialized training just geared for people to do that. Yes.
Can I ask, do you think it's a trope that comes out quite a lot? Users are the weakest link. So do you think users are the weakest link, or do you think they're the first line of defense, or what's kind of your view on that?
Yeah, I think that the workers are not the weakest link. It's like, I think information security throughout these years have failed the workers in educating them on their roles and what they're supposed to do. It's like the weakest link is going to be the inherentness of just human nature and getting technology to supplement people's training to secure themselves. Everyone wants to rely on the technology to protect the users instead of getting the users to protect the technology. It's like, and that is the paradigm that has to shift. It's like, we need our users to understand, yes, we have a lot of filters in place and gateways and antivirus, but it means nothing without your help maintaining it and helping us give us that information. Because let's face it, it's like this whole moat mentality, you know, you build the moat around the castle and protect it. They're jumping in through paratroopers, you know. It's like the walls don't matter. We've learned very well, you know, building walls don't really solve problems around here. It's like, so it's straight up. We have to understand the new paradigm that has shifted is like, it is not about being breached or getting breached. We have to assume that is going to happen. The key factors are, how quickly can you detect and how quickly can you react? Your defenses are not bulletproof vest or walls or anything like that, or barriers. What they are fireproof safes. Because you ever get a fireproof safe, is it really fireproof? It'll say on the box, in the fine print, it'll say fireproof up to 3 hours, fireproof up to 6 hours, fireproof up to 7 hours. It'll tell you how long you got. It's like to get that fire out before your stuff is toast.
But also, following that analogy, Jason, if you put an incendiary device in the fireproof safe, it's not going to do anything for you at all.
Well, yeah, and that goes on to a whole other tangent about why we're not segmenting our internal networks properly or doing proper egress filtering. It's like that's ridiculous. So, so we show. I'm sorry. We show everybody that they are part of the fireproof safe. That is part of their thing. That the quicker that they can detect, or the quicker that it's harder for the person to get in, more easily they could be detected. So that's what we're trying to do. I'm sorry, what were you saying, Sean?
I was just about to say, I remember a talk that you gave many years ago. I think it was either at DEF CON or Black Hat. And I remember a phrase that you said that stuck with me since I watched that. And you said something along the lines of, don't go after the low-hanging fruit. The fruit is on the floor.
Oh, exactly.
In your experience, I mean, have we improved security since you gave that talk? I mean, what's your thoughts on the security posture in terms of how we've moved along in the past 5 to 10 years? Have we improved, or have the goalposts changed?
No. See, I think that is one of our inherent things, is that we're trying to get security to improve, and like, oh, we're better security, we're better secured than we were back then. And I'm like, we are dealing with technology. So yes, 100%. Our information security technologies have vastly improved. It's like our defenses have vastly improved. And if we were fighting attackers and criminals from 2010, we'd be set. It's like, bring on those people who have been in cryogenic sleep for 10 years and trying to use the same old tools and equipment. It's like they're in for a rude awakening. Unfortunately, those attackers are not asleep as well. Crime has been more incentivized, and the increased ease of use of committing crime is just exponentially grown.
Do you think that's true, though? Because if you look at like the kind of attacks that are happening now compared to 10 years ago, a lot of them are just like, a lot of it just starts with a basic phishing attack. Like, they're using the same method, and they're using ransomware. People, like, I did a talk the other week about artificial intelligence and how whether attackers are going to start using AI to improve their chances of like attacking organizations. And I was like, well, why would they bother when ransomware works so fucking well? When they do a basic phishing email, get some ransomware, and they're done. They're already quids in. It's like the easiest thing ever.
Well, that is a very good point. It's like, I do say that it's like, I am tired of the whole APT nonsense. It's like, oh, we were victims of APT. It's like, that's what you tell your shareholders and the public. It's like, APT for most people stand as, advanced persistent threats. For me, it will always be adequate phishing technique. That is what APT is. It's like, and more to your point, why do they need, when they're wanting something bigger? Yes, they will go and match and evade that technology. Look at some of the attacks that have gone on to show that in government. It's like OPM and several of these other breaches. 2011, you had RSA being breached by a 0-day that they burned. It's like to get in with an Excel file. So, and that started with the phishing technique. So yes, phishing techniques are still going to be there, but they're going to be more sophisticated depending on what they're trying to get after. The second thing, and this is more to my point, was there are actual crime syndicates that are doing nothing but renting botnets for ransomware attacks, selling the ransomware programs, and then giving technical support call-in numbers for the criminals who have it. It's like, this is one of the biggest things. It's like, that's one of the reasons why I'm a Hack Not Crimes advocate, is because of the fact that we get to the point where it's like, we're thinking that these are hackers attacking us. No, these are criminals. It's like, if I get robbed at gunpoint, I don't automatically assume that person's a gunsmith or a Second Rights Amendment activist or an NRA member. It's like, it's a person who is using a tool to commit a crime. Computers are extremely helpful in committing crime. So why not utilize that? I don't have to leave my house. I can keep playing my PS5, because those motherfuckers got the PS5 because they were able to steal someone's credit card and buy a PS5. I don't have a PS5. It's like, that upsets me. That should upset everyone. the criminals are getting away with all this because they may not understand everything, all the tools, or how they're executing the attack. They just know it works. So yes, there are crime syndicates that are making the tools more sophisticated. They are making, but they're also making them more available. And that is, once again, the dilemma of the defender. It's like they have to find one, we have to find many. We have to defend many.
When we talked to Rick Ferguson, we were talking about organizations that do like initial access as a service or ransomware as a service, because it's become such a big business now that it is just like that people are like turning it into it as a service model. It's crazy.
Oh, exactly. It's like, I mean, back in the day, we had the Russian Business Network. It's like, you know, back in the 2010s, it's like, it's funny how everything's old is new again. It's like, you know, so it's like, and some things never go out of style, like fishing. So,
Jason, it's fantastic listening to you. I'm going to ask, we're going to take a short break now. We're going to pop off and do some news.
okay.
We're going to come back. We've got some more questions for you. And yeah, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
No worries. Sounds like a plan.
Bong! Here's the news. First up is the story of a teenager who managed to steal over £300,000 from unsuspecting members of the public by creating a fake love to shop website to harvest their account details. The boy, who we'll refer to as the advanced persistent teenager, then converted his ill-gotten funds into cryptocurrency, making himself a whopping £2 million in total, which is now being seized by law enforcement. If you're out there, APT, we need crypto tips ASAP. Next up, at the slightly higher end of the retail market, UK diamond retailer Graf has been hit by ransomware from the Russian group Conti, with attackers already releasing 69,000 confidential documents on the dark web. It was said that the attackers were looking for the organization's crown jewels, but with only client names and addresses being leaked, which are usually available within the public domain anyway, we're still unsure whether Conti hit the jackpot or if all they got was fool's gold. And finally, German news outlets claim to have identified a member of the infamous Revel ransomware gang, who reportedly lives the life of Riley off his ill-gotten gains. The gang member, nicknamed Nikolai K by a German newspaper, owns a €70,000 watch with a Bitcoin address engraved on its face and rents yachts for £1,300 a day whenever he goes on holiday. He seems to prefer T-shirts from Gucci, luxurious BMW sports cars, and large sunglasses, reported the newspaper, which partly identified him through social media videos posted by his wife. The video, said the newspaper regarding the £1,300 a day yacht trip, is from Antalya on the south coast of Turkey, but others have come from a 5-star hotel in Dubai, from the Crimean Peninsula, or even the Maldives. It seems that crime does in fact pay. You stay safe, InfoSec community. Welcome back from the news, folks. We are still joined by the wonderful Jayson E Street. I just want to kick off this second half by asking you, Jayson, a lot of the stereotype that surrounds, or at least what I think that surrounds, InfoSec cybersecurity, is that a lot of the people in it are introvert in nature. Would you say it's to be a successful social engineer such as yourself, do you need to be an extrovert to do that well, or what are your thoughts around that?
Well, I am the living proof that you don't, because I am not an extrovert. I much prefer being by myself. I do not do well with prolonged human exposure. It's like, so it's the persona. It's like, I think one of the reasons why, and a lot of people are introverted and a lot of people are good in hacking and stuff, is because we all have very unusual coping mechanisms for the way our brain works. And that's how we've adapted them. It's like hacking and being a hacker is not something that you learn. It is something that you are. But what most people don't understand is that everyone was born a hacker. That innate curiosity of a child at 3 or 4, where it's like, why? Why? I want to
literally-
do this.
I posted about this the other day and said that my child is literally socially engineering me on a daily basis because
Yes.
on a night time she goes, "Mummy, you're the best. You're the best mummy ever. Will you help me tidy up?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, of course I will." And then I'm like,
Yeah.
"Shit, you just fucking hacked my brain there."
No, they were hacking. They were doing social engineering since they were babies because remember they realized, oh, if I cry, I get the bottle or I get the food or I get something. Or if I show that I've got a boo-boo, I will get a treat. No, it's in human nature. It's like what happens is as the years progress, institutionalized education systems and peers and other humans just stomp it out of them. And hackers that are make it till after 18 or whenever, they're the ones that just kept it. We're able to manage to keep some of that experience of why and natural curiosity and passion to do things and not just say, well, that's what the world is telling me it's supposed to be, but what if I do it this way? Or I think I could try this. It's like it might fail, but I will do that. So that is the difference. It's like, so all my stuff that I learned from social engineering was literally survival traits that I picked up when I was young. I came from a very traumatic childhood. And so therefore I needed to know by reading a person's facial expressions or body language if I was going to get physical damage. I was going to get something bad going to happen to me. Or if I could be more what they liked, it's like, then they would be less likely to do damage to me. So that is what I learned. It's like, so I'm very old. So it's like I was born where they did not know about autism. They didn't understand that it was just you're hyperactive and here's this and you're just a troublemaker. It's like, so in the second grade, I was making straight A's. I was held back that year because they said I was, even though I made straight A's, they said it's like, well, he's too hyper. It's like he probably would not be socializing. And I got in so much trouble for that. It's like, and so me presenting and being honest about who I was, and because being on the spectrum, being different was severely punished. It's like I had to hide a lot of that. And so I'm not a good social engineer. It's just I've always been a good mimic. I've always been a good chameleon to be what people want me to be so I could, be okay. It's like, but my online persona is very extroverted. My, the social engineering part is very extroverted. But it is so, after a conference, it is like, I am so drained. I am so physically exhausted. It's like, I have, when you see a good cue is when you see all my jewelry on, it's like, that's Jayson E Street. That's Jayson E Street being the funny, witty guy and stuff. The guy who can go out and do all these things. But me, it's just me. It's like, it's like I don't want to deal with those things. And it's like, and I literally have my jewelry in a suitcase because it's like the only time it's put on is when I'm on a podcast or I'm on a certain kind of meeting or a certain, and that's the character they're expecting. But yeah, that is just the part I play. It's like Jayson Street is way more boring. I just like being here. It's like working. I like riding my bike. It's like I like doing certain things, but I do not have to have any human interaction whatsoever to be okay.
A lot of our guests in this series have talked about mental health, and it's something that
it's very important.
We're very keen on promoting ourselves. And I'd like to ask you, if I may, and if this is too probing, please tell me to stop, because I can relate. I'm sure everyone listening can relate. But I was at a conference last week, and I decided to turn it into a 2-dayer. I decided I'd do the overnight and go back the next day. And the second day, I really, really struggled, and I had to basically just run away. I couldn't maintain it for the duration, because it's about masking. It's about putting on your persona. It's about acting the role or whatever. So do you ever find yourself struggling when you're in the middle of an engagement? Because you put on the persona, you go to do the engagement, but how hard is it for you to maintain that throughout? Whilst you, because I could imagine it suddenly catching you out. I mean, I've been in situations where I suddenly realize I can't continue hiding behind this face. I need to escape to rebuild.
No, those are fine. It's like, because I've never had a problem with those. It's like conferences, yes. It's like conferences, like the way I look at it is that the conference is totally different, because that is, I need to be Jayson E Street, the best possible version of Jayson E Street, when any person interacts with me any way, shape, whatsoever. Because for me, it's me having a bad day. It's me not wanting to be there. It's me trying to go to the restroom. It's like, but for that person, this could be the very first and only time they get to meet JC, someone they wanted to meet for a very long time for some reason. It's like that is their moment. And I have a responsibility to make sure that it's like, that is a good moment. When I was at DEF CON 12, I was an idiot. I did not do it very well. It was my first DEF CON, and I didn't understand everything going in, and I embarrassed myself greatly. It's like, by what I was trying to, I took pictures instead of had conversations with some of the famous, greatest minds in information security and hacking. And I wasted so many opportunities like that. It's like, it was a bad thing. And what got me the most was FX and Major Malfunction. Adam Laurie. It's like, they are legends. It's like, and not because of all their hacks. They're like Dan Kaminsky. It's like, they're not legends because of what they broke or what they built or what they discovered. They were legends because of how they are as a human in that role that they play. It's like, because Adam Laurie and FX treated me, even though I embarrassed myself, they still treated me like I mattered. And they still gave me, more importantly, that second chance. It's like, because anybody can make a horrible first impression. That's all I'm good at, is making very bad first impressions. But they gave me that second chance. They did not just go and shut me down and write me off. It's like, and so that all I'm trying to do is be like that. And that is the reason why I'm always so open about my mental health and my struggles, is because when I was growing up, no one ever talked about anything. So I was always the only one that dealt with this. I was the only person that was going through this. It was me. It's my fault. All this is my fault because I don't understand. It's like, I do not know what's going on. And so it's important that other people realize, no, it's like, this is me. There is a song from NF, the letter N, the letter F, and it's called Just Like You. And one of the reasons that started to get me to, and this was just from this year, but one of the reasons why I first started to try to go and get therapy, try to get help a little bit more professionally about where I'm at in my condition, is because I heard that song. And it basically, I love all his songs. It's like, and a lot of his songs are like sort of dark and sort of like, about his past, and I can relate to so many of them. It's like, especially his song, up until then, my favorite song of his, and the one that I found most relatable, was the song Hate Myself. And it's like, because I loathe me. It's like, so it was just so relatable. But then when he did the Just Like You, it clicked, because I realized, you're not alone. There's millions of us just like you. And then he explained some of the things that was going on in his head, that I was like, I'm struggling with that. And then the chorus is, there's millions of us just like you. And so it's important for us to understand, to teach others, that it's like, and that's what we do in information security, what we do in hacking, is that we're trying to explain to people, this happens to everyone. This could happen to everyone. Be aware of that and try to get help with it and try to make it better.
And I think for those people who, particularly younger people who are coming to terms with their own neurodiversity and their own struggles, hearing people like you, Jayson, talking about how you've turned it to an advantage and proved that it's not in any way a stop to anything you want to achieve. I think it's really important that young people appreciate that and learn that so that they can move forward successfully and with confidence.
And what they need to understand is like they survived. It's like they're learning, they're doing better. It's like they're getting better. It's like every day is a success. It's like, I mean, because there's so many factors that are trying to put them down. It's like, I mean, I survived my first murder attempt before I was 10. It's like, so I'm like, I tell people, it's like, you should be afraid of me because other people better than you have tried to kill me and failed, including myself. It's like, so yeah, don't go there. So we have to understand that the fact that you're here and that you can hear these things and you're listening and that you're even listening to trying to find help is a success. And it's like, and so there is no weakness in asking for help. There's no weakness in understanding that you have flaws. There's no weakness for MSO 867, being out there from 2008. It's like, that's not on the person who created the original flaw. It's on the people who just refuse to patch it. They refuse to update. And that's where you have to realize it's like, I can update myself. I can get a patch. And why am I not letting myself do that? Why am I staying vulnerable?
I think I'm just like,
wow.
I just think, what can you say to that? I think that was absolutely
I'm just trying to digest everything you've said. Yeah,
I said I don't filter. I'm sorry. It's like it's like I say.
And I'm glad you didn't filter.
Yeah, me
because
too.
That was just fantastic, really fantastic. And as I say, I'm going to let so many people know about this, and not within the industry. So many people outside the industry who are going to be struggling with their lives. I think it's so wonderful to hear people like you talk in this way. I'm going to just let everyone I know in on this one.
That mean Rob and Sean are both fanboying Jayson now. Have I made a fanboy out of you, Rob?
I don't have fans. I have friends. Okay, it's like rock stars have fans. I'm a dentist. It's like it's like
I've got a real thing for my dentist.
Well, let me explain this. It's like if I invented Invisalign braces, that's a huge deal. The guy who invented Invisalign braces made millions. He goes to dentistry conferences all over the world. It's like giving talks on it. He's probably written books. It's like people come up to him and say, "Can I get your picture? Oh my gosh, I love your work." It's like everything. It's like as soon as he walks out of that conference, you know what he is? He's an effing dentist. It's like I actually one time for a talk, I researched his name. I forgot what it was. Who cares? He's a dentist. It's like he was nobody important to me in my personal everyday life or anything like that. Yeah, he's a big deal in his industry maybe, but he ain't famous. It's like he's known. It's like I'm known. It's like I'm not famous. It's like, and the key thing here is we're just like dentists, not rock stars, because what do? Well, people don't really want to see us. It's like they only show up when they have to. We're usually just telling them things that they haven't done properly. It's like, and that they have to fix, or we're showing them flaws that they have that need to be repaired and updated. And it's usually a painful procedure, and it's not something anyone looks forward to. It's like, we're dentists. It's like, that is all we are. So we need to get over ourselves. And I understand human nature. Mostly every person that has gotten to the point to be in this industry had to survive high school, which was a horrendous experience for most people. It's like, because they were probably not the jock. They were probably not the most popular kid in school. It's like, And so they didn't fit in.
What kind
So
of assumptions are you making there, Jayson, about people in the InfoSec
no, I'm
industry?
saying predominantly. It's like, because I am saying the majority. It's like, yes, it's like, and you're right. There are some that are like very, I'm sure we're very popular and very successful. It's like, but when we talk about the ones with the neurodivergency, it's like, yeah, you get singled out. Humans fear what they don't understand, and what they fear they try to destroy. And you are something, and hackers have always been something people don't understand. It's like, and that is one of our problems. There's the governor of a state in Missouri in the United States right now, which is the highest elected official in that state, saying because you pushed F12 on your keyboard, you hacked their website.
I'm on a Mac and I cannot see an F12 anywhere, so it wasn't me. I've done no.
Yeah.
Just
and see, and to them, that's hacking because they don't understand. It's not because they're stupid. It's they're ignorant. It's like, and ignorance is not a crime. Ignorance is not something to be looked down on. It's something to be educated. It's like, if you willfully ignorant, like that governor, well, then that's just stupid. It's like he's trying to be willfully ignorant. It's like, but I'm ignorant on a lot of things, and I have no problem saying I'm ignorant of something, but I'm willing to learn and become educated on it. It's like, because I try not to be stupid. Yeah, that is one of our biggest problems. So a lot in high school, it's like we just had that, we didn't fit in. And we're just like, and so now we're trying to act like, oh, because you see DEF CON, if you go to DEF CON and you go to one of the DEF CON parties, because trust me, I was there at Alexis Park all the way to where we are now, going to the Seniors Forum soon. It's like, I seen the arc, and every single one of those huge, I'm not going to single out any certain party, but every single one of those big brand selected parties, all they had in common was this. It's like, you got to have a special invite, maybe a special badge, maybe a code word or something. You got to do this thing to get in. It's like, we don't let just anybody in. We're the cool kids. You got to know this. It's like, oh, and you get the special bling so you can show everybody at the conference that you're going to be one of the ones that gets to go in. It's like, not them. You got it. You're good. It's like, and oh, we're going to have all this music, and we're going to get this entertainment. We're going to get this artist. We're going to have it in this location. It's going to be amazing. Not everybody gets to go though. Okay. And then, and guess what else? It's like, you know what happens? It's like, we're going to do it even bigger next year. It's like, so you can't, don't tell anybody about it. Sometimes we do the secret locations. It's like, well, you don't even know until that day. It's like,
Jayson, you are killing me, because last week I turned up at this exhibition and I managed to get myself a wristband, and I was so excited that I was going to a concert, going to an after party that I didn't want to be at, and I knew that I didn't want to be there, and I got there and I stood against the wall in a corner, hoping nobody would see me.
Exactly. and I tell people,
I kept it on for the next day.
Exactly. It's just human nature. There's nothing wrong with that. I wear all my bling when I'm at the con. It's like, but the last two things that are common is the same crappy food and the same alcohol at every single party. Yeah. It's like, but the reason, the genesis of that, and this is my theory, I'm not saying it's specific, but my theory is the movie Weird Science is to blame. Weird Science is to blame on that, because we showed all these impressionable hacker kids that all the and throughout several other movies, it's like not just Weird Science, but throughout the 80s and 90s, several shows with the theme of high school was all the cool kids went to this amazing party, and they had all these cool things happen, and the odd ones and the nerds weren't allowed to go. They didn't get to go. So we all just assumed in high school, oh my gosh, they must have had such a great party. I'm going to have that party now. I'm going to be the one that throws that party now. And it's like, and that's how it's gotten to the point. I will go and visit mostly every single party that occurs at DEF CON. It's like I'll go for 15, 20 minutes and I'll just do a cycle throughout the night because I want to see everyone. And it's like, and I want to enjoy the thing. I'm not partaking. I'm not there because, oh, this is so special. And you know where I usually hang out and spend the most time? The black and white ball. Those are the generic, everyone is allowed in that DT throws, because DT throws the best party because it's inclusive to everyone that's there at DEF CON. And those are the parties for me.
But I think that's the thing about cyber, isn't it? I think there's a lot of gatekeeping goes on in this industry.
Oh my gosh,
people want to like not let people in, and I said it. I can't remember if I said it on the last podcast. I think it was on the last one with Dave, where I was like, if I teach somebody something, I don't get any more stupid.
Right.
So why do people not help people get into the industry? Right? If you help someone get into the industry, you're not losing anything. You're still in the industry. It makes no sense.
I tell people it's just like that's just a perfect theory. It's like with when I tell people, when I talk about systemic racism in our country, it's like I always talk about it's not pie. It's like, it's like if I give you a slice, it's not like I've less. It's more like the numeric pie. It's infinite. We got enough pie for everyone. Stop thinking you have to bake it. It's like it's pie for everyone. And I also say I think gatekeeping and hacking is one of the most ludicrous and absurdities I've ever heard of, because we're freaking hackers. Why do you need a gate for? Jump the fence. It's like, stop trying to act like there's a gate or that it's going to tell you what to do. It's like, we have to go past it. I did a talk for La Hack where I keynoted. It was like 15 minutes. I just talked what I wanted to talk about. And I was saying, it's like, who here at this conference has ever popped a shell? And then I was like, as people started to raise their hands, like, don't raise your hand. I don't effing care. Who here has done a buffer overflow? Don't raise your hand. Doesn't effing matter. It's like, you're here, you belong. Because it's the curiosity and the passion to go out and look and venture out. That makes you a hacker. There is no other qualification. There is no certification or degree that gives you enough acceptance. The only acceptance that you get to belong in this industry is the one you allow yourself. You're your own worst gatekeeper. It's like there is no one out there worse than that. You need to defeat that one, and then who cares what anybody else says? It's like, so
we were talking to John back on episode 2, and he said much the same. He said when people ask him how to be a hacker, he says you don't join a hacking group, make a hacking group.
Exactly.
Just set yourself up and get on and do it. Don't ask permission, just make it happen.
At DEF CON, as the DEF CON group ambassador, it's like one of the things I love saying is one of the things that was before me. It's like I just repeated a lot. Is the credo that's in DEF CON groups is, if there's not a DEF CON group in your area, make one. It's like, and I love that. It's like it's all about doing that. And Adam Laurie has another great saying. I don't want to bastardize it, but it's like he's like with the whole DEF CON ethos. It's like, if you don't know something, learn it. If you learn it, get really good at it, and then teach it. It's like knowledge is supposed to be shared. It's like I have literally watched a person do a talk on stage that almost mimicked exactly one of my previous talks. And the only thing I thought was awesome because he did it in his way, with his perspective and his thing. So I was able to inspire someone. There is no copying in this industry. We all are worried about like, well, that person's just copying this other person's talk. Who cares? That person was inspired enough by that person's talk to give their perspective and to give their version of it. And you never know what version is going to resonate with what people. He may have said things in a certain way because he didn't mimic me. He said his own story. He said his own talk. And that may have resonated with someone in that audience way better than I did. And that impacted them.
I think at Microsoft they call it building on the work of others. It's not plagiarism; it's just building on someone else's work, and I think that's a brilliant way of looking at it.
Definitely.
And I think like lots of people in IT do that anyway, like coders. When was the last time you coded a website from scratch? Like people just copy and paste code, right?
Stack Overflow.
Nobody reinvents the wheel.
Yeah. Stack Overflow is a website dedicated to that theory.
Yeah. Sean, have you got one last question before we wrap up?
Yes, I have. So last question, how has the pandemic affected your work, Jayson? How has it changed the way you do things?
Oh, that is, oh, wow. That was you're going to regret this. It's like, the pandemic has been horrible for me. It has literally been one of my worst experiences, and also some of my better at the same time. It's very mixed, of course, but when it started, I always like to be optimistic till I'm proven wrong. It's like, or till I'm proven right, actually. It's like, because I'm usually worst case, and I'm very good at predicting things, and it's like, and trust me, that is not fun. Being always right is not fun. It's like, especially when most of the stuff that you're predicting is bad.
It is fucking horrendous when you're always right. I know.
Yeah. So the very well done. It's like, so the well, there's a woman here. It's like obviously they are always right, default in my book, because also they are the most deadliest of the humans category. So yeah, I try not to tread heavily around them. It's like see how I excellently navigated that little minefield right there. It's like I did that blindfolded in a rainstorm trying to do the waltz. I was very proud of that.
That was masterful, Jayson.
Well, thank you very much. It's like, so it started out where I thought, okay, we're all going to wear a mask. We're all going to start taking people. And we started with the quarantining and realized, and we're like, okay, we're going to quarantine. It's like, we're going to lock down, and we're going to start figuring out that it's like, that's what saves us, is understanding that I'm not protecting me, I'm protecting you, and then you're protecting me, and then we're all protecting each other, and then it goes away. But once again, I overestimate normal humans. Normal people scare me. They terrify me. It's like, I actually created one thing. A friend of mine, he's got a t-shirt, I think it's like, called Nomophobia, which is my fear of normal people. It's like the Latin word for normal, and then of course phobia. But it's like, because that is what I have. It's like normal people frighten me, because it's like, you look at, because we realized very quickly, especially in America, where our politics, where a pandemic that has killed more Americans than every war and conflict in history of our country. It's like how it became inconvenient to be considerate. And we realized that my convenience is greater than consideration of your life, or my own for that matter. I would rather have convenience than breathe. I would rather have convenience than see you die. It's like, so I'm okay with that. And that is basically what it is. It's like, and so in May or June of 2020, I started just going, when I started seeing people not wearing masks, when I started seeing people not really caring, and making it like, literally had someone scream at me, "Will vote Democrat," because I told him he was not wearing a mask in a public space, because I will confront everyone. It's like, and during that year, it was very bad for me, because 20s Jayson came out. Jayson in his 20s was a very non-adorable person. We'll go with that. I was in a lot of physical altercations. I had, I drew blood. I had blood drawn on me. It's like, I did not shy away from a physical confrontation, and I was usually armed. It's like, so it's like I did not play around very much with those kind of things. And it stems because I'm a pacifist. It's like I abhor violence, and I do not want people to try to do violence on me. But my response is, if you initiate violence, because every person I've ever been in a fight with, you have to hit me first. You have to show intent that you're going to try to hurt me. And then I retaliate and make it to the point where you never want me to get in a physical altercation with you again. It's like, and usually I did not get satisfied until that person was on the ground, bleeding and understanding why it was such a negative experience for them. It's like, so in 2020 that came out. And so I realized it took me months to figure out why that was like that. And I realized what it was. Every person that wasn't wearing a mask in public, they were threatening my life. Just like if they were hitting me, they are threatening my life. It's like I wore 3 masks. It's like I only wear 2 now. It's like, because I have all 3 vaccine shots. It's like, but I was literally wearing 3 masks. And one person mocked me that way. He's like, "You're wearing 3 masks." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm wearing 1 mask to protect me, 1 mask to protect others, and then another one for your stupid, blank." It's like, and so I did not shout. I had one person threaten to shoot me. I waited around. He just went into his truck and left. It's like, I carry a knife, a hunting knife. It is not a small indiscreet blade. It's strapped on my waist in a draw pattern. I've been sword fighting since I was 7. So it's like, if I have a blade, it doesn't really matter if you have a gun within 6 feet of me. It's like, I will probably end you. I might get a flesh wound or something, but it's like, we tested that out when I was working on a gang task force. It's like a deputy kept spouting. So we had a little draw. It ended with my hilt of my blade to his throat, and his gun pointed at my leg. And I was like, "Ow, I got a boo-boo." It's like, "I just slit your throat. I win." So he said, he's like, "Well, then I'll just stand 7 feet from someone." I'm like, "Yeah, if you stand 7 feet from me, you're going to kill me." But most gun battles happen within 6 feet of a person. I digress. So I carry this knife, and I had someone at the store actually say, it's like, "Why are you carrying that knife?" And I was basically like, because it's like, I don't like guns, and I plan on killing anyone who tries to threaten my safety. It's like, and I just kept walking. It's like, that answered it. It's like, because in Texas, anyone can carry a gun now with no training, no ID, just wear the gun. And so what that does is shows, don't mess with me. It's like, and so it's just because I don't want confrontation. So it's like, I try to look like I'm not worth the effort. It's like, so that 2020 came out, and I just got very down. I got very depressed. November I hit my rock bottom, where it was like, but instead of resorting to suicide, which is usually my go-to, 2018 was still fresh in my mind. It's like I walked in front of a bus in New York City and made contact. I was fully committed, but it just didn't do the job. But I mean, thankfully, but oh God, it hurt for days. It's like, it was embarrassing. So I didn't get to that part, but I started playing No Man's Sky during Thanksgiving. I mean, I played 20 hours a day. It literally saved my life. It's like, because I was able to be not on this planet. I was able to explore other galaxies and see other planets and stuff. I did over probably 200 hours and probably about a week or so. It was insane, but I wasn't harming myself physically. It's like, though I forgot to eat a lot. It's like I was just being somewhere else. And so that gave me that buffer to start trying to realize there was something going on. And then in December, I was tasked with a client who, fired me to do this very menial, tedious task. And that's when I started understanding with my ADHD and not being able to complete small, tedious things. It has to be something that interests me for me to do things. And so 2021, I'm starting to get better. And now when I see people that don't wear masks, I realize they're just killing themselves now. They're not a threat to me as much because I'm still wearing a mask because I care about others and I'm vaccinated. But it still irritates me to see so many people in this world and so many people in this world that still allow the hate to rule them, to allow their insecurities and false superiorities to control them, where they have to hurt others to make themselves feel better. So yeah, 2020 did not do good for me. I did not do any jobs in 2020. I did not do any engagements in 2020. I would not go on a plane. When I got off of the plane from Finland, it was the last plane that I was on in the year 2020. It's like so. My trip to Saudi Arabia coming up in November is the first trip that I will take internationally since then, which is the longest I've gone in over a decade without going outside of the country. Was this whole stint? It's like, and so, yeah, 2020 was not good. It's like people need to understand that, and it's about consideration. It's like people talk about cancel culture. It's not cancel culture. It's consideration culture. Because now we're starting to realize, and the people who have never been considered, it's like now are having the voice and the strength to start saying, no, you're going to have to consider me. You don't get a free pass anymore. I don't have to accept the slap on the ass or being called boy or being discriminated against because I decided to choose exactly what my meat robot represents. It's like, because I mean, that's all we are, meat robots. It's like we some have certain, we're born with certain paint jobs. We all do body meat robot modifications to our bodies. It's like to make it look like the way we want the chassis to be. We're all not happy with it. And it's like, and we all do, customizations to it. It's like, and we have every right to choose exactly like, this is the meat robot I want to be, or this is the one that I want to plug into. This is the one that I want to connect with. It's like, it just boggles my mind that is still a foreign concept to some people in this day and age. And that is what's happened starting now, is that we're starting to learn that consideration is way more important sometimes than convenience. I'm done. Sorry. I ramble too much and I talk too much, and y'all been very polite. I apologize.
Jason, you do ramble and you don't talk too much. You are absolutely fantastic to listen to. And well, to date, definitely my favorite guest.
Yep. It is not a competition.
I'd agree, but like all of the other guests have been my actual friends, so I can't really say that Jason's been the best one.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. There are Dave Kennedy owns his own company. It's like he's got his own TARDIS in his room. He's got a DeLorean. He is. I am not jealous of Dave Kennedy. It's like he is a great, wonderful person. He is a huge impact on and positive impact in our community. It's like he's an amazing person.
Jesus. I refer to him as Cyber Jesus.
Yeah, it's like he's an amazing person. And it's like, it's not a competition. It's like, I am totally okay with that. It's like, and more people need to understand that they need to be okay with that. It's like, we're all on our life journey. When I die, it's me. It's just me. My things that I competed, that I achieved. And I will not be on my deathbed if I make it that long to go into, because I'm thinking mine's going to be sudden and quite surprised and go with, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But seriously, it's like, if I'm on my deathbed, it's going to be not how much money I made or how successful or how many people fanboyed over me or
it's at least two. I can tell you it's at least two fanboys.
Okay.
Both
but
here right now.
How many people did I help make better? How many people did I impact in a positive way?
Yeah.
How many lives did I affect in a good way? And also weighing on the ones who I affected negatively. It's like, those are what I'll be thinking about because those are the only things that matter at the end of the day. It's not money comes and goes and success comes and goes. How many people you can change. I have not created any tools. I do not create those things. My thing is communication. but I know that I have helped others with my talks who've gotten into the engagements. I've helped someone with my book who founded a company and created a tool. It's like that I use to this day. And it's like, it was because, and I found out only like years later, it was because of my book when they read it that gave them the idea. It's like, so I'm done. There is no need to compete with anyone. I've established my accomplishment. I've changed one person's life positively. What else do I need to do? I don't have to prove anything to anyone else because I proved it to myself.
I think that is a brilliant way to end the show. Thank you so much, Jayson, for coming and talking to us. I would love to sit and talk to you for like another 5 hours. I'm not going to lie, but we just don't have time.
I go long. I'm sorry.
No, it was fantastic. And please do come back again another time if you don't mind, because that was definitely one of the most interesting conversations we've had. So thank you very much.
Indeed.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Sean. Thank you to the Zero Folks community and everyone for listening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And don't forget to tune in next week to hear me, Jack Resider, where I tell true stories from the dark side of the internet.